No more monkey business. No more monkey business. Remember that? Army of the 12 Monkeys. Welcome, TI family, to the Army of the 12 Flunkies. That's kind of what the disciples were, weren't they? You know, many forget that Jesus was a rabbi. And rabbis chose the best and the brightest. You know, there used to be a rabbinical blessing that said something to the effect of, you know, may the dust of your rabbi be upon you, right? Dirt roads kicking up dust, and may you be close to your teacher. And so they chose the most scholarly, the most astute students to be mentored and transformed into rabbis. But Jesus, he chose a bunch of brawly fishermen, didn't he? And people that would have been declared misfits and dissidents to be his followers. Yeah. The army of the 12 flunkies. And they went on to transform the world, didn't they? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's get the TI business out of the way. I have not ever given anyone. Oh, Jonathan, you triumphant. Birth name David Jonathan Allen from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I have never given anyone a power of attorney or consented to a power of attorney. I have never consented or been made aware of any life insurance policies that have been taken out in my name. Never. I haven't consented to one. If any are in existence, they were done without my knowledge and my consent. I have never been informed of a police investigation that I'm a part of. Not once. I have never consented to be on a trauma-based mind control program or any other program, period. I have never consented to be used for electronic weapons testing, social engineering, remote neural monitoring, voice to skull, synthetic telepathy, dream manipulation. I have never consented, and I do not consent. As far as I know, by law, whether it's CSIS, the RCMP, the CIA, or any other policing agency, including the local authorities, the Winnipeg Police Service, Interpol, MI5, MI6, whoever, are they not under obligation to inform someone that they are being investigated? And for what? And for what? So yeah, I made a lot of videos, over 90 videos telling my story. I was coached to do that by someone who I do believe had my best interest. You know, if you look at Kay Griggs, she told her story, kept her alive. I don't know if she's still alive, but it kept her alive. I was desperately trying to keep myself and my family alive. And so I documented. And boy, what I found. Wow. I made videos. I told my story. I did everything in my capacity. And yet I'm still being terrorized in my community. I'm still being electronically harassed. You know, I know I was marginalized, and you thought that you would have plausible deniability. But the fact is, I can prove this is being done to me. There's 90 videos showing that I'm sane and articulate and conscientious. And here's the thing about proof. No matter who I am, proof stands on its own, set apart. And I can prove it. But I look to God, to Jesus, the author and finisher of my faith. Yeah. As far as I know, no matter who does it, there's still a charter of human rights and freedoms that says that you cannot terrorize an individual. You can't vandalize, you can't poison, you can't gas, you can't hit them with ELF weapons. Got some interesting footage recently, by the way. Incredible. And you can't microwave them, use scalar, sonar, whatever you're doing. You can't do that to people. You can't use voice to skull and synthetic telepathy. Now, if criminals are doing that, it's one thing, you know. It's sad because people I really believed in, I found out one guy in particular is compromised recently, and that made me really sad. You know, I don't know the answers, all of them. I can show what's being done to me, and I can show you a lot of the individuals and connect the dots as to who some of the puppet masters are behind it. I can tell you that my phone calls and my messages are going to the RCMPD division. I can prove all sorts of things, like who's been smearing me and how it was done, and the fact that my computer and phone were hacked by law enforcement long before that. And if they were, then why haven't charges been laid if I did anything which I didn't? And why has law enforcement in Canada stood aside if they're monitoring my devices and I'm being cyber stalked and cyber bullied and having all manners of hate crimes and hacking, which is a federal crime? If these things are being done to me and they haven't moved, and I know law enforcement watches this, and you know what? I have nothing against you. I just want to be free. Period. You know? We have a justice system, don't we? How can you do these things? How can you blacklist people here and there and have different things and have them watch listed and stuff without one single charge being laid against these individuals? I don't understand it. And friends, anyone that tells you that this is all demonic is lying to you. It is demonic. But let me tell you something. Okay? These machines exist. The patents are out there. This is real. People are participating in this conscientiously. So I don't want to build the thing and feed it. But you left me no choice but to tell my story. And God has sustained me through his grace to this day. You know, it saddens me that I've never heard from another TI in my city. And the one woman, I think her name's Jeneline Smith in Winnipeg, I've tried to contact her 50 times. At least, I bet. You know, I'm not exaggerating. Maybe a slight exaggeration, but almost begged the woman, you know, to stand with me, who says her and her family are targeted individuals. Well, I find it really odd that she wouldn't respond in any capacity to any of my messages, you know. If she's a TI, that makes no sense. She's looking to rally with the rich and the powerful and, looking for the prime minister and Trump and all sorts of people to help her, but she won't stand with another TI. Well, we have to stand together. And I know that's a frightening concept for a lot of people out there because you've been played. I've been played, sometimes sadly, where you actually like a person. Like one woman, I actually, I never met her, never saw her, and she was a TI online. And, I thought, what a great person. And, she was a perp, and it's happened to all of us, and I understand. But you can't, and this is why they've done this. This is one of the reasons why the perps pretend to be TIs and do this. Because they'll either get you into their inner circle where they can control you and profile you and actually turn you off of the real TIs like myself, right? Through smear campaigns and slander, just suggestions. And they're really good at this, just feeding your subconscious mind and trying to make your mind connect, right? You know, they know what they're doing, they're connected to people. They know how to manipulate. They're psychopathic, So they turn you off of real TIs and get you under their wing. And then you can be controlled. And if you're not a threat to them, they'll be happy to string you along for forever and a day. And your targeting will never end. Well, that's not true. Jesus will end your targeting if you pray. But what I don't get is why people aren't waking up, or if they're turning their back on that still small inner voice, if they really have Jesus Christ, and that voice is telling them, it must be, I don't know, unless God's sovereign, so maybe he's allowing them to be deceived, I don't know. But to me, that voice always tells me, hey, look over here. And I look over there and it's like, oopsie, and there it is, And so I don't understand why real, genuine Christian TIs don't have the spirit of discernment all the time, but it is what it is. But 12 flunkies, Jonathan E. Triumphant, right? Broken, marginalized, they've certainly tried to demonize me. My faith isn't in self-righteousness. My goodness, we all need to take a look at ourselves. Here it is. It's like, okay, here's the bad guy, right? The bad guy, right? Sitting in his home. Let me see if I have a pen or something. Do I have a pen? Oh, I don't have a pen. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, say here, illustration, bad guy, right? Imaginary bad guy, right? And all the good guys, right? So the bad guy is sitting in his home, praying, minding his own business, bothering no one, listening to sermons, maybe, I don't know, maybe watching TV, I don't know what he's doing, And all the good guys, right? So he's in his house, bothering no one, praying, reading, doing whatever, watching videos, whatever, and all the good guys are circling him, committing hate crimes, doing the good things good people do, slandering, smearing, stalking, mocking, hitting with ELF weapons, terrorizing, participating in domestic terrorism, all the good people. Well, the bad guy stays in his house, minds his own business, and prays for them. Think about it. Wow, you say, yeah, but, you're a bad guy, man. You know, you stood up to bullies and you broke down a few times or whatever. You know, I did. The rest of it, crock of crap. You know, did I have an addiction? I did. You know, you know, there's days where I still struggle. But you know what? I'll tell you something. What is it now? How long have I been sober and clean? I think it's now a year, pretty much, that I'm tobacco free, give or take a day or two. That's pretty incredible. But I haven't smoked pot or drank or done any drugs. Oh man, since last April, maybe? So that's a long time. That's what, a year and April, May, June, July, right? Like 16, 17 months, whatever. And I had a little slip when I found out I was badly betrayed and my life wasn't what I thought it was. You know, but before that, I think I had about 14 months, give or take maybe one joint, about a month into that. So, yeah, it's been about 16 months. Before that, about 14, give or take, one day, I think, near the beginning of it. And yeah, I don't get this. This is crooked. This is revenge. This is people trying to silence me and steal my life and destroy my life. And I don't want that even for those people. I really don't. You know, this can't be good for them. I don't know. I hope the new vehicles are worth it. The friendships that are based on terrorism, because that's what you're doing. This is domestic terrorism. So you can do it under any guise for anyone, but this is domestic terrorism. So, and you know, one of the great things about this country and about first world countries was the fact that we had due process. You take that away, and wow, you know, and if this is being done under the guise of investigations that go on for 16 months for what? Nothing, and people are alienated and all their personal rights and freedoms are taken away, and, you know, they're terrorized in the community, you know, and, you know, right, spiritually, emotionally, physically, whatever you're trying to do, psychologically, right, under the guise of controlled aggression. Meanwhile, they're having crimes committed against them every single day. None of it makes any sense to me. The only thing I know to do is look to Jesus. And if you're a TI, you should really, really not give up, you know, on maybe trying to find some local TIs. It saddened me when I first did this. One of my major hopes was that some other local TIs would find me from my videos. You know, I've tried to tag them with Winnipeg and I'm in Manitoba and different things, and I always tell people I'm from Manitoba. And I really, you know, don't think I'm the only one going through this in this community. I don't. It's too big. There's too many people involved for what? One dude who does nothing? It doesn't even make sense. None of it makes sense to me. It's absurd. It's like the emperor's new clothes or something, you know, like, you know, oh, this is great. I don't know. And it's like, what? What? There's nothing. All you're doing is making the world a prison planet, you know? It's insane. By what? You know, gang stalking and bullying people to death? Terrorizing senior citizens? How are you making the world a better place for that? You know, and that was the thing, right? Is like I quit drinking a long time ago, and Lord knows I got a reason to drink. But I don't, you know. A little herb might help, you know, but I don't. You know, it's tempting. You know, every once in a while I might take a look at something, some herb or whatever, but I don't smoke. And, I shouldn't even be doing that. And, I'm traumatized, you know, but I go to Jesus, you know. So you've got Mayor Bowman with the Winnipeg Police Service here in Winnipeg, encouraging people to get off meth and different things like that. And here's a guy that had an addiction. It wasn't meth, it was alcohol and pot for me. And, I'd do party drugs now and then, but I was an alcoholic and I was a pothead. And, I've done all of that. I've changed my life. I have a relationship with God, and I'm being terrorized, and gang stalked here in Winnipeg. It makes no sense. This makes no sense. So, Mayor Bowman, this is for you. I don't know you, and I really hope that you're not encouraging people to participate in this program. There's an election coming up, and if people found out what this program is in its entirety, it may not be a good thing for you. Now, I'm not threatening you, I have no power, you know? But this isn't good long term. And if you care about building a legacy for Winnipeg, you know, you may want to put a stop to this and take a look at what's going on if you're not involved under your nose. Because people like me are being terrorized in this community. And it's going to come out into the light. It's like when you're a little kid, one time I put grilled cheese sandwiches I didn't want to eat and a pickle or something under the rug and under this Indian rug. And, it stuck after a while. It was good for a little bit. I thought I got away with it, but a week or two rolled down the line. And, maybe in this case, it'll be a year or two. Maybe it will be a day or two. It's going to break. This is going to break internationally. And Winnipeg is out of control with this. Out of control. When this comes into the light, it's going to be a bad thing. And it was done under your watch, Mayor Bowman. I don't know you. You seem like a cool guy, you know? But there's no reason for me to be targeted. And, for the media that know what's going on with me, and they do, and the police, you know, it's going to come out and it's going to be messy. I want off this program. I want my loved one off this program. We're a threat to no one. I want a simple life and to be a simple man, Here's the thing, too, right? Like, yeah, I do have a propensity and a desire to write. But I was never planning to mention names and write under my name anyway. Think about that, you know? And I mean, you know, don't you think that knowledge should be available, to everyone for knowledge's sake? If I have some knowledge, even though I'm marginalized and broken, and I'm not as intellectual as some, I have a unique perspective. Everyone's a library. And if I can share something that'll help Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, the world, please let me know. And if you all don't want me here, this isn't a way to get me to leave, because I know enough about the program to know that I'll be just turned over to another stalking group who will harass me. Premier Brian Palliser, Mayor Bowman, Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Trudeau. I liked your dad, by the way. I thought he was cool. I thought he was an original. Anyway, if you don't want me here, would you help me to leave the country? And maybe non-disclosure agreement, a settlement for the torture and trauma I've been through. I'm not greedy. It's not about money, but my goodness, I should have a purple heart at this point for the terrors I've been put through, you know? So I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for a life. If you don't want me, all I want to do is be an asset. All I want to do is help society in some way, you know? And yet people prevail in their ignorance, you know? It breaks my heart, and their extreme prejudice towards me, you know? The daisy chain. That's sad, you know? Because I'm none of those things. And if you think I am, then that's more of a reflection on you than it is me. And in your heart of hearts, you know that. I just want a life. People know my story. They know that this is not right, that I've been given no due process. They know I'm a victim of organized stalking and harassment. And who is involved in this? Is the CIA involved in this? Are black ops? I don't know. You know, or I mean, criminals also. There was a guy out in BC today that was just a UBC student, I believe, who was tracking, you know, re-education camps in China, right? Trying to help. So if he could track people through satellites as a civilian, anyone could use this technology to do this, right? But yet it goes back to the fact that remains that the RCMP are receiving my meal. So, and all this is going on. So if I'm being monitored and they know all this is going on, they must either be in collusion of it or orchestrating it. I don't know, you know. Could someone from the RCMP, a legitimate officer, contact me? You know, if CSIS is involved in this, who am I? I'm nobody. You know that. This isn't about me, it's about my enemies. You know, I'm no threat to anyone, you know. Don't we live in a world where we can agree to disagree? You know, I've made mistakes, I'm sorry, you know. But I haven't made the mistakes that would warrant a what, 18-month investigation at this point? Because this was going on before too, wasn't it? I believe it's been a few years. I don't know. And if this is a criminal group, like, don't you think you've done well? You've terrorized me and my family and traumatized us and hurt all kinds of people in the process of doing this. You've exacted your revenge, you know, your pound of flesh, and then some, you know. When does it end? I don't know. I don't know. This is my rant. Yeah. So I want to be free, please. You know, I want to be free. So this isn't the way. This will all come out into the light. It will, you know. And when it does, a PhD won't protect you. Alliances won't protect you. I'm not threatening you. I'm going to do nothing to you, you know, except continue to fight for my freedom, you know. Yeah. All right. I love you, family. TI family. I'm sorry. These are rants tonight. You know, it is what it is, but yeah, I love you. You know, if you're a TI and you're going through this, Jesus Christ is the way. He's the solution. We need to pray. Pray for you. Pray for other TIs. Pray for perps. Pray for the world. Pray for revival, for a move of God, for people to be convicted of this. Pray for this program to be exposed for all it is. For all it is. It's interesting to me that billion-dollar lawsuits at this point are going out and people are still terrorizing people because they think they can. You know, that's a big no-no. Yeah. Well, the highlights of my life was seeing the RCMP musical ride. Whatever. You know, it's true. I thought RCMP officers were awesome. Yeah. Maybe some of them are. Maybe some of them are. So, all right. Bless you all. Love you.